In session 1, I shared with you the monk's wise words, "What you practice grows stronger." And we'll explore this in this current session. Neuroscience is catching up with ancient wisdom. But first, let's begin by simply arriving here together. Allow your eyes to close and gather your attention into the present moment. Arriving here, now, feel your breath, feel your body. Take a moment to let go of any obvious tension, softening 5% more. Arriving here in your body with kindness and curiosity. And into the space, inviting in your intention. Why are you here? What is most important? Taking a few deeper breaths in and out and just listening. And as you're ready, letting some light back in through the eyes, stretch your arms above your head. Good. So we'll begin this session exploring neuroplasticities, discoveries about the brain's lifelong ability to change and grow have revealed that we can indeed strengthen and rewire the brain through practice. First, a bit about your miraculous brain. While you're listening to this, your brain is quietly overseeing a boggling array of tasks. It is governing hearing and decoding vibrations into words based on lessons begun in childhood. It is doing all this, synthesizing it into meaning without effort. Your neural pathways connecting one part of the nervous system to another are humming as you file away ideas in your memory so you can retain them days, weeks, months, even after you finish this course. At the same time, your brain is making sure you're alive. The lungs oxygenating the body via breath, the heart sending blood carrying nutrients to your trillions of cells, the digestive system processing your last meal, and you don't need to do anything. All of this happens without you having to think about it, without controlling it, or remembering to do it. It's simply the miracle of life. These are only a few of the nearly countless tasks your brain is performing, just in the last several seconds. But there's more. As mentioned previously, revolutionary findings in neuroscience have shown that our brain development doesn't stop at a certain age as previously believed. Our brain, far from being static or fixed, can change throughout our entire life. We now understand how the brain works, how it grows, and how we can purposefully shape it through practice. One of the most important discoveries in brain science of the 20th century is neuroplasticity. It shows that our brain is constantly changing throughout our lifespan. What this means is that no matter how old you are, you can actually sculpt new healthy pathways in the brain and prune away old unhealthy ones. This is such a hopeful message. It confirms our boundless potential, our remarkable capacity to adapt and grow, not just when we're young, but at any time. In every moment of your life, you have the capacity to change the physical architecture of your brain. You can, quite literally, transform your mind. You have the choice and the power. Now, this isn't like flipping a switch that instantly turns off the bad and lights up the good. Change requires commitment. It requires repeated practice. There's a phrase well known among neuroscientists: neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time neurons are activated and fire together, those neuronal connections grow stronger. It's called cortical thickening, the growth of new neurons and synaptic connections resulting from repeated practice. For example, pioneering research found that London taxi drivers have bigger and stronger areas of the brain that have to do with visual spatial mapping and memory. Why? They've been practicing navigating the 25,000 streets of London all day long. Similarly, Sarah Lazar and colleagues at Harvard use fMRI to look at the brains of people who practice mindfulness. They found the areas of the brain related to attention, learning, emotional processing were bigger and stronger. Not only that, researchers concluded that mindfulness may actually slow the aging process of the brain. Bottom line, these findings support what the monk from Thailand told me so many years ago. What you practice grows stronger. We can even rewire our brain to become happier. Until recently, psychologists and researchers believed that our happiness levels didn't change over our lifetime, always returning to a baseline level no matter what happened to us. For example, research found that people who win the lottery have an initial surge in happiness, but within a year, they return to their baseline. Even more surprising, people who are paralyzed for life in a devastating accident have an initial plummet in happiness, but within 1 year, they too return to their baseline levels. So this is great news if you're born happy. Life knocks you down, you pop back up. But not so good if you weren't born happy, because then, no matter how great your wins and successes, you always return to your baseline. But our brains are much more plastic than we thought. Although we're not all born equally happy, we can all become happier. But it's not through changing your external life, which is what we've so often been taught. It's about changing our internal landscape. The take-home, external changes such as winning the lottery won't shift your baseline level of happiness, but internal changes can. Happiness can be trained because the very structure of our brain can be modified, says neuroscientist Richard Davidson. I like to think of neural pathways as roads that take us in any direction. We all have well-grooved superhighways of habits that we've practiced for decades. These might be automatic reactions, like quickly losing our temper, or they might be ingrained beliefs, like believing we're not good enough. As we become aware of these superhighways of habit, something important happens. We put ourselves back in choice. Each time we recognize that we're about to take one of these superhighways, we find ourselves at a choice point. These choice points give us the opportunity to consciously carve out a new neural pathway instead of mindlessly taking the same old route. Think of these new pathways as country roads. The country roads are less traveled and initially not as fast, but they are the pathways of evolution, bringing us to new places and experiences. Superhighways of habit only lead to places we've been before. What happens when we want to go somewhere new? If we keep using the same old superhighway, we end up in the same old spot. As the saying goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting change. If you want to change, you must practice something different. To go somewhere new, we must carve out new country roads, practice new neural pathways. But don't worry, this doesn't mean we have to be perfect. The goal of practice is not to get it right once and for all. It's about practice, not perfect. Perfection isn't possible, but transformation is. One of my favorite Zen sayings embodies this paradox. You're perfect as you are, and there's room for improvement. This path is not a self-improvement project with perfection as its ever-receding goal. Instead, it's about opening to the possibility of change, growth, and freedom. Simply ask yourself, can I do 5% more? 5% more exercise? Or can I relax 5% more? Can I trust 5% more? can I bring 5% more kindness to this moment? And if 5% feels like too much, can I do 1%? No matter where you are in life, no matter what pain you've experienced or what mistakes you've made, your future is spotless. You can begin again. I know this is true because of 5 simple words. What you practice grows stronger. The only question is, what do you want to grow? So let's practice. Begin by sitting quietly and allowing your eyes to close or look down at the floor in front of you. And just resting your attention on the natural flow of your breath, rising and falling in the body. You're perfect as you are, and there's room for improvement. We all have something we want to get better at, something we want to grow. Something inside of you knows it is time to begin. That's why you began this course. Trust this part of yourself. Gently ask, what do I want to grow? You can silently repeat this question, what do I want to grow? Just like you're dropping a pebble into a still well and watching the ripples that emerge, listening, feeling whatever responses arise, staying open, kind, and curious. For example, it might be, I want to become better at managing stress in my life, especially the little things. Or I want to cultivate self-compassion. I want to be kinder to myself. Or I want to be more attuned or present with my children or spouse. Listening deeply, trusting. And as a clear idea begins to arise, notice how it feels in the body. Notice if there's a sense of, yes, that's what I want. This is how you know you've found what you want to grow. It could be a sentence, a phrase, it could be an image or a word. I find it very helpful to imagine what would it feel like if I was kinder, or what would it feel like to be more present? And for some people, they get a clear image of looking at their child with presence. So finding for you what will help motivate you in the kindest, most powerful way. And when it comes to you, it will feel like it clicks into focus and becomes compelling. What do I want to grow? Feeling it. And when you're ready, gently allowing your eyes to open if they're closed. You might want to stretch your arms above your head and just move the body in any way that feels comfortable. And then writing down whatever it was that you want to grow. Good. And as we bring this session to a close, pause and reflect on the highlights from this session, and then choose one gold nugget you want to take with you and encode in your long-term memory. It could be perfection isn't possible, but transformation is. It could be the superhighways of habits versus the country roads of compassion. It could be simply every moment matters. So take a moment to write down your one gold nugget, your key takeaway. And then when you're ready, allowing your eyes to close one last time and just taking a moment to thank yourself. Feel the wholesomeness of directing your attention to these practices. and trust that the seeds you are planting will continue to grow. I look forward to continuing with you in our next session.